Reading and writing with ITA was the subject of our 5th annual Initial Teaching Alphabet Foundation Conference in Winona in August of 2015. During that time, we focused on 3 effective and research-based strategies for interventions of children with reading disabilities, dyslexia: spelling by sound, spelling by pattern, and repeated oral assisted reading. Spelling by sound starts by having a child pull down a marker for each sound heard in a word, finding the ITA symbol for each sound, writing each sound under its marker. So here you see a child who has pulled down the sounds t, e, ch, and has written under it the ITA words. In this picture, you see little Janieann being introduced for the very first time to the ITA symbols. What is unique about ITA is that for every sound in English, we have a picture that represents that sound. For example, in the orange. We have that as a sound in English, but we don't have a symbol, but in ITA there is. The red shows the vowels, the common vowels. The green shows the unusual vowels in English. Purple and yellow are consonants. The blue are our digraphs. And in the middle are some of our sounds that we have no symbol for in traditional orthography. For example, j in television. So here Janieann is matching the sounds to the ITA symbols with 2 of our participants. And here she is pulling down sounds to make a word. You notice that her tutor in training seems to be learning it right along with her. And in this picture, they are deciding which one of a sound it is. So, for example, if the sound is a, is it a, apple, or a, acorn? Here is Janieann's first ITA story, which she produced after a couple of sessions of working with our tutors. My name is Janieann. I like to play with my cat. Her name is Kitty Bear. She has gray and brown fur. Her eyes are blue. She sleeps in a bed. This is a delightful little story from a first-grade child who had been struggling hugely to try to learn to read using traditional orthography. Some of these pictures show other students who are new to ITA, have not yet started in our literacy clinic, and therefore they are also being introduced to the ITA symbols, the pictures, and the sounds that they represent. Spelling intervention for older students, for those who have not cracked the code of English, who have not mastered phonological awareness in the preschool years, begins with slash and dash. In that, the tutor dictates a grade level word, not the fat cat sat on the rat. They are learning words that they can use in science or social studies or math or literature. So in this case, the tutor dictates the word conversion. The first thing the student does is count the syllables and indicate syllable boundaries with slashes. Conversion. He's now broken that word up into basically 3 short words, and he makes a dash for each sound heard in each syllable. K, n, j, n. The next step is to use the ITA symbol chart to write a symbol for each sound, syllable by syllable. And at that point, he types that conversion into a spell checker to find the regular spelling. When there is a symbol like j, which we don't have a clear correspondence in traditional orthography, we use something like a z, which is the closest that you can find to that. This has been extraordinarily effective for those kids who are now in 7th, 8th grade, and they can't spell phonetically, so therefore they can't find words in a spell checker when they don't know what it is, and they have extreme difficulty with decoding. Here's slash and dash with one of our kids who is going from spelling by sound to finding what the word looks like in traditional orthography using a Franklin speaking speller, which has been a tremendous aid for our students. In this case, he and a tutor are working to go from the ITA rendition to what it looks like in traditional orthography. Because it turns out that if you know how to pronounce a word, you have in your lexicon, your brain, a phonetic rendition of that word. Our kids don't have that, and that's what ITA gives to them. In this case, the tutor is getting the student set up for using slash and dash for vocabulary development. So learning the word interchangeable, not only writing it in ITA and then in traditional orthography, but also finding the definition in order to increase vocabulary background. Kids who don't read suffer from a dearth of vocabulary knowledge, and this helps them to catch up. We also, once kids can do spelling by sound well, move them to spelling by pattern. In spelling by pattern, we know that there's the same sound that have different letters, and we have words with the same letters but different sounds. And so it's important for kids to understand those patterns. Repeated oral assisted reading is the backbone of our reading intervention. While correction of the phonological deficits using ITA may take quite a while, students can be moving up tremendously, as much as 2 grade levels in reading, using this strategy 3 or 4 times a week. So you select a story at the student's instructional level. The student does a cold reading for 1 minute, material he's not seen before, and you keep track of words per minute correct and deviations from print or accuracy. And then practice together, sentence by sentence. I read, we read, you read, for 15 minutes. And at the end, the student does a hot read to see how much better he can do in terms of words per minute correct and accuracy, and charts his progress. This is truly data-driven decision-making, and this shows the importance of reading together, that tutor is tracking above the line and the child is tracking below. Tracking is very, very important, because otherwise, as with computer-generated repeated reading programs, the kid could be sitting there and listening but not tracking with his eyes. Therefore, he's maybe improving listening comprehension but not reading. And here we have the young man charting his progress, first in blue for his cold read, and then in pink you can see how much he improves after some practice. This story is at the end of the day. Our teachers who taught the tutors who came to our conference are relaxing and looking back at one of their early reading books, Book 3 of ITA. Looks as though they're enjoying the progress that they have made in the time that they've spent in the ITA Literacy Clinic, with good reason. For more information about our strategies or our conference, we have 2 websites. The first, the itafoundation.org website, is like a one-stop shop of free resources, a huge plethora of resources for intervention at all levels of reading disability. And the one on the right is the ITA Clinic website at St. Mary's University, where you can get some more information about specifically what we do in our clinic as we work with students year-round.